Start dialing. Call 1-888-995-HOPE for a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options.
I'm all alone.
No, you're not. We've helped over 1 million homeowners, and we want to help you. And now there are more ways to help. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
I read the news today, oh boy.
It's time for Nicole Sandler's What's News from NicoleSandler.com and the Progressive Voices Network.
It's the Al Smith dinner edition of What's News today. I know I promised you part 2 of the final debate edition, but then this happened.
We're having some fun here tonight.
Well, that depends on what your definition of fun is. By way of background, the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Dinner is an annual white tie event benefiting Catholic charities for needy children, and is a roast of sorts. It's usually the last event at which the 2 presidential candidates share a stage before the election. You might remember this classic from the Al Smith dinner in 2000.
This is an impressive crowd, the haves and the have-mores. Some people call you the elite. I call you my base.
With Maria Bartiromo's cleavage providing the backdrop and trending on Twitter, Trump was up first and seemed to understand that it was supposed to be self-deprecating jokes and good-natured ribbing. At first,
A special hello to all of you in this room who have known and loved me for many, many years. It's true.
Hillary got the memo too, poking fun at herself at first.
This is such a special event that I took a break from my rigorous nap schedule to be here.
But then, as you'd expect with this campaign, things started to take a turn. Well, after a little detour to throw his wife under the bus.
Michelle Obama gives a speech, and everyone loves it. It's fantastic. They think she's absolutely great. My wife, Melania, gives the exact same speech, and people get on her case. And I don't get it. I don't know why.
Trump set his sights on Hillary.
Just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me." And I very politely replied, "Let me talk to you about that after I get into office."
That Hillary gave as good as she got.
And, because this is a friendly dinner for such a great cause, Donald, if at any time you don't like what I'm saying, feel free to stand up and shout "wrong" while I'm talking. It's amazing I'm up here after Donald. I didn't think he'd be okay with a peaceful transition of power.
It's great to be here with 1,000 wonderful people, or as I call it, a small, intimate dinner with some friends, or as Hillary calls it, her largest crowd of the season.
After listening to your speech, I will also enjoy listening to Mike Pence deny that you ever gave it.
Last night I called Hillary a nasty woman, but this stuff is all relative. After listening to Hillary rattle on and on and on, I don't think so badly of Rosie O'Donnell anymore.
People look at the Statue of Liberty and they see a proud symbol of our history as a nation of immigrants, a beacon of hope for people around the world. Donald looks at the Statue of Liberty and sees a 4. Maybe a 5 if she loses the torch and tablet and changes her hair. Come to think of it, what would be a good number for a woman? 45.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. how corrupt you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission. Pretty corrupt.
Now, look, I have deep respect for people like Kellyanne Conway. She's working day and night for Donald, and because she's a contractor, he's probably not even going to pay her.
For example, here she is tonight in public, pretending not to hate Catholics.
But Donald really is as healthy as a horse. You know, the one Vladimir Putin rides around on.
Everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
But I can say without fear of contradiction tonight that I will be the healthiest and youngest woman ever to serve as president. And it's been a long, long campaign. That should be one of our highest priorities, shortening the campaigns.
Oh, please, please, pretty please. We got 2 weeks left, people.
I got good news.
And that's today's dose of What's News, written and produced by Nicole Sandler. Hear the Nicole Sandler Show live, Tuesday through Friday, 3 to 4 Eastern, 12 to 1 Pacific, at NicoleSandler.com and on the Progressive Voices Network.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
I'm hyperventilating.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
You know, girls, it's great to live in a democracy today, where freedom is everywhere.
Oh.
But girls, we often take this freedom for granted.
Really?
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of thought.
Yeah.
And freedom of action.
What?
But you know, gals,
Huh.
just because a bunch of men signed that Declaration of Independence in 1776 doesn't mean that freedom was for men alone.
No?
Oh, no, you take Tom Jefferson.
Okay.
Ben Franklin.
You know.
John Hancock.
Adorable.
There's a hell of a guy for you right there. All these men had wives.
Yes.
They probably had a few broads on the side, too.
A few.
These women wanted freedom just as much as their men did.
Yes.
But gals, I wonder, do we? I think it's time that we women thought about it a bit.
Okay.
Hell, I think it's time we did something about it.
Hell.
So come on, fellow females of the 20th century.
21st.
Be glad that you're an American.
I'm glad.
Proclaim your freedom.
Freedom.
And attention.
Oh, dear God.
Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance.
And...
Welcome in, you nasty bastards and bad hombres. Go ahead and buy some cheap sunglasses. Sounds like a ZZ Top song to me. Okay, so last night, the Al Smith dinner. Oh, my God. And I am only talking about Maria Bartiromo's boobs. Holy woo, baby. That was the showstopper right there. That was the showstopper. That broad, it's like cast iron. That broad does heavy duty work. That broad does more work than a guy who works under the sea setting up tunnels. Do you know what I mean? That's hard work. That bra, I need that bra, want that bra, gotta have that bra. Wow, damn. I didn't understand the one white glove, but there were, in fact, too many boobs on the stage. That was the problem. That and the fact that Donald Trump will never be funny because what's funny is what's true. And Donald Trump never tells the truth. Therefore, Donald Trump will never be funny. Oh, man. Too bad for you. Whoa, this crowd hated him. They hated. This was the ultra ritzy, white tie, New York billionaire real estate media, Bloomberg. I mean, this was the New York glitzy white tie elite, and they hated him so much, so hard. I thought they were going to start throwing their jewelry at him. Oh my God! And Maria Bartiromo should have just went woo, taking it off. I'm gonna lasso him off the stage like the clown at the Apollo. Woo, that was painful. That was really freaking bad. This is, you know what? I'm going to play you this just so you could, you'll hear it, but if you can see it, I want you to watch the Cardinal's face. He was like, what the hell did I do? Oh my God. The crowd was yelling at him to stop. They were yelling at him to shut up. They were practically telling him, Harry Truman didn't bomb this bad at Nagasaki.
I'd like to address an important religious matter, the issue of going to confession, or as Hillary calls it, the 4th of July weekend with FBI Director Comey. Now, I'm told Hillary
so far, so good.
went to confession before tonight's event. But the priest was having a hard time when he asked her about her sins, and she said she couldn't remember 39 times. Nah.
How does she do?
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. How corrupt do you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission? Pretty corrupt. Hillary is and has been in politics since the 70s.
Cardinal sweating.
What's her pitch? The economy is busted. The government's corrupt. Washington is failing. Vote for me. I've been working on these problems for 30 years. I can fix it, she says. I wasn't really sure.
Where's the joke?
If Hillary was going to be here tonight, because I guess you didn't send her invitation by email. Or maybe you did, and she just found out about it through the wonder of WikiLeaks.
Wow, this is so painful.
We've learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. That's okay. I don't know who they're angry at, Hillary. You're right.
You.
For example, here she is tonight in public pretending not to hate Catholics.
That was it.
Now, if some of you haven't noticed,
Maria Bartiromo's boobs.
As much as the rest of us. That's because
look at the
she
Cardinal.
knows the jokes.
Oh my! Look at the Cardinal. He's like, oh my! What? Oh God! Oh God! Oh! What did I do? Oh! This is Ted Cruz carpet style bombing. This is bad. This is terrible. Oh. Can we just all turn around and look at Maria Bartiromo's boobs and just, enjoy your dinner? Wow, that was like so painful. That was amazing. That was like, I couldn't believe he actually, said she hates Catholics. She's been at this dinner, so has he, to tell you the truth, because this is the elite of New York. She was a senator from New York, obviously, right, for 12 years, and he's who he is, whatever. And they've been there, and they know this is for Catholic Charities, which is a charity that raises money for needy children, and that Al Smith Jr., that's the guy that's sitting on the other side of Hillary. You got the Cardinal separating Hillary and the Trump, in the name of God and religion and all things peaceful and kind and good. And then on the other side is Al Smith Jr., who is the grandson of Al Smith was a New York congressman. He ran for president. He was very progressive, extremely. Anyway, they hated him. They just hated him. And Hillary got up and, she did some jokes and, she actually was self-deprecating. Donald Trump forgot the self part. He was deprecating, but he forgot the self part and decided to do it this way. And it was just too many boobs on the stage. That, Donald Trump is a joke. He is. All he had to do was stand there, and he blew that. This was unprecedented. It truly was. Anybody who's, there are 3 great dinners that I love to watch. Now, usually this one's only on C-SPAN. You never really see the Al Smith dinner. But the Al Smith dinner is like a great, great night. you get the at the end of a very hard fought presidential campaign, you get the two candidates together at the Al Smith in October, just ahead of the November election, and you try and show that they're human and that the campaign might have been tough, but that they can joke around, they can have some leisure moments together, they can show some kindness to each other. That's what this dinner is. It's like the ultimate peacemaking dinner. It's like the last thing that happens before the election, for the candidates to be together. And I mean, this was just such an opportunity for him. As if the night before he hadn't killed his presidential campaign. Then he goes to the Al Smith and he kills it again. He's like a serial killer of his own campaign. He just keeps stabbing and stabbing. Must be an emotional thing. It's a very personal, emotional connection he has to the campaign because he keeps on stabbing it. That's me. That's my computer. Here, I'll shut this. Okay, we're good. So I just cannot, for the life of me, explain why Donald Trump did this. I mean, but if this is any indication about how badly Donald Trump can bomb, then it should be clear to you he could never be commander-in-chief. Never. That was nuclear. That was amazing. All right, it's Friday, and anything, this week was just woo. It was woo. I mean, crazy, like night after night after night, editing. So much to go, But I think that this is the week that we won. I'm just saying. I think this was it. I'm not sure, but I will tell you that there are stories today that are very, very important. And they all have, well, not all of them, but one of them two of them have to do with the election. And they're both freaking scary. Now, this first one, you could miss this really easily because it's just a paragraph. It's just a paragraph in The Guardian. It's in the homework section on my website, but this is really creepy. This should freak you out. And this is why everybody has to show up to vote. Because this has to be a blowout. I mean, it can't even be marginally close any place. Can't. So everybody, especially if you're in a swing state, Florida, my God. Ohio, I don't understand you. You'll have to call and tell me. I just don't understand you. But Nevada, if you're going to vote, Arizona, if you're thinking that your mind is show up, please. This is because I hate saying this. I don't think you guys even know this. Roger Stone and Trump loyalists are crowdfunding. Swear to God, they're crowdfunding their own exit polls. Now, if you want to see how Donald Trump reinterprets truth in real life and what's truly happening and how he just flips it on its ass and distorts, go look at his Twitter feed and you'll see he keeps tweeting that he won that debate. And thank you, America, and all the polls are in, and I clearly won, and we're going to do this, and blah, blah, blah. Be forewarned. He's going to say that the exit polls show he won, and he's going to rely on Roger Stone's exit polls. Here's the little story. It's in The Guardian today. Trump plans crowd-funded exit poll. Donald Trump loyalists will attempt to conduct their own crowd-funded exit polling on Election Day due to fears, ostensibly, that electronic voting machines in certain areas have been rigged. The Guardian has learned. The effort, led by Trump's notorious informal advisor, Roger Stone, will focus on 600 different precincts in 9 Democratic-leaning cities with large minority populations. A tactic that has been branded highly irregular by experts who suggested that organizers could potentially use polling as a way to intimidate voters. No, I think it's going to be worse than voter intimidation because he's got another guy. He's got Mike Roman. I don't know if you know who Mike Roman is. Never mind Roger Stone, crowdfunding exit polls. They're going to say the polls that they took do not jive with the polls that the legitimate media takes. CNN exit polls, ABC exit polls, CBS exit polls, NBC. They're going to say, and Fox does exit polling too. They're going to say, oh no, forget them. We did, there's another company, and it will be this. It will be this. That clearly shows I won. Just like he does these, online snap polls. Like mine got trolled, okay? I didn't even bother this last debate. But the debate prior, the second debate, I put up a poll and I said, who won? That's all I ever say, who won? And I put in Hillary and I put in Trump. And of course, it's like over 2,000 votes. And the first one, everybody was kind of, Hillary. This one, I don't know. I don't know why, but I'm attracting the trolls now, I guess because I'm hip to them. And, I keep on inviting them in. So they trolled my poll. And Trump, according to my poll, won. But that was, trolling, right? Because none of the polls show that, and the polls that they did show that Clinton won the debate by 13 points, every poll, like by a wide margin. Anyway, there's this guy, Mike Roman. He is the guy. Do you remember on Fox News, this became like a major freaking story? They were the only news that actually made this into a story because it was bullcrap. That Black Panthers were intimidating voters in Philadelphia, and there was a photo of two kids dressed in Black Panther garb. Yeah, Mike Roman is the guy who took that photo. And Mike Roman is running Donald Trump's election protection in the inner cities for any signs of voter fraud or, I'm guessing, actual voting. This is not going to be easy.
Clear for takeoff. The Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
I am so excited to announce that ITM Trading is back to sponsor our new show. ITM Trading is a precious metals company that was a very loyal sponsor of mine for years and years, and our reunion couldn't have happened at a better time. 2016's been great for me and for gold. Did you know that gold outperformed the Dow this year by over 3 times? Since January, the Dow Jones is up 8% and gold is up over 26%. Some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the country are diversifying huge sums of money into gold because they know diversification is the key. And maybe it's time for you to get diversified too. It's time to talk to my friends at ITM Trading about gold and how it can help you. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. They've been in business for over 20 years. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And if you'd like to know how to diversify with gold, call ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1926. That was the day that one of the great labor leaders in U.S. history, Eugene V. Debs, died in Elmhurst, Illinois. In 1894, Debs gained national attention when his American Railway Union launched a boycott in support of the striking workers of the Pullman Palace Car Company. The strike and the boycott were crushed by federal troops and a federal court. Debs served 6 months in jail for his role in the boycott. Later, Debs would again go to jail for standing up for his beliefs. He was convicted for speaking out against U.S. involvement in World War I. He was among the founders of the IWW, the Industrial Workers of the World, in 1905. He ran as a socialist for President of the United States 5 times, receiving nearly 1 million votes running his campaign from a prison cell in 1920. In 1891, Debs wrote an article for the Locomotive Fireman's magazine titled The Unity of Labor. His words stand as an eloquent case for worker solidarity. Debs wrote, quote, "If working men were united in sympathetic bonds, if a bricklayer could comprehend the fact that he is dependent on the hod carrier, if the locomotive engineer could grasp the fact that he is dependent on the locomotive fireman, the interdependence of labor would at once constitute a bond of union, a chain whose link forged and fashioned to hold working men in harmonious alliance, would girt them with a defense in every time of trouble and resist invasion, though assailed by all the plutocrats that ever cursed the earth. Deb spent his life trying to bring about this harmonious alliance of working people and standing up for the causes of peace and justice. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
To speak to Randi, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force.
This is such a special event that I took a break from my rigorous nap schedule to be here. And as you've already heard, it's a treat for all of you too, because usually I charge a lot for speeches like this. But for me, it was kind of ironic thinking about a fiery populist, Al Smith. If he were here today and saw how much money we've raised for needy children, he'd be very proud. And if he saw this magnificent room full of plutocrats celebrating his legacy, he'd be very confused. It's a special honor to be here with Your Eminence. Now, I know, Your Eminence, you were criticized for inviting both Donald and me here tonight. And you responded by saying, if I only sat down with those who were saints, I'd be taking all my meals alone. Now, just to be clear, I think the Cardinal is saying I'm not eligible for sainthood. But getting through these 3 debates with Donald has to count as a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the dinner is supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be self-deprecating. It's supposed to recognize why you're there. You know, what a great job this dinner it does to raise money for. I mean, George Bush, that was where he said, the haves and the have-mores, or as I like to call them, this is my base. That's the dinner where he said that, you know. So, I mean, I don't know what the hell Trump was doing except being Trump, and it's always let Trump be Trump, and that's fine with me because he's going to freaking lose, but the polling is going to show, you know, there's going to be some weird polls out there because Donald Trump is paying, well, he's not paying, he's crowdfunding to pay for polling that will be the exact opposite of what all the news organizations will come up with. This is all to sow, you know, dangerous seeds of doubt in his supporters' minds. And, you know, his hometown newspaper, not just the New York Times, which is really an international newspaper in that it's got, you know, bureaus all over the world to cover things like Mosul and the invasion that's going on there with the Arab fighters and the Turkish, the Kurdish Peshmerga. You know, I mean, they're a serious newspaper. The Daily News in New York is really the newspaper. The New York Post is Rupert Murdoch's swill. So is the Mirror UK. You got to know what you're reading. People are very strange in that they don't know. Ever since the internets, they are unable to discern what is real and what is not, and what is, propaganda and what is not, and what's gossip and what's fact. And it's just amazing how, and Donald Trump is going to try with this, effort to, put a propaganda network up on the YouTubes and on the Facebooks. I mean, he's just going to copy our model, and there's going to be an amazing amount of money behind it to push out propaganda to rile up. It'll be like ISIS recruitment videos, basically. Yes, I said that because he's going to agitate for violence. He's going to agitate, the pitchforks. I mean, you've already had a sheriff, a law enforcement officer on the TV telling Donald Trump supporters it's pitchfork time. It's torches and pitchfork time. This is not code. These aren't dog whistles. This is the dog is barking. This is, getting your... Well, the Daily News has an article. I would have printed it out, but it's like 40 pages. Okay? It's more than that, actually. The freaking the New York Daily News. Amazing. The editorial board. Now, just for those who are, dumber than dirt, the editorial board is the opinion portion of a newspaper. Editorials are opinion. Like MSNBC is the place for politics and political opinion. And this is a place for political opinion. And Fox is a propaganda outlet that doesn't even ask for political opinion. It doesn't rely on any facts at all. It just tries to shape your political opinion minus the facts. So that's the most, glaring example that we have on the TV of true and purposeful propaganda that actually works. They repeat the lie over and over again, like Benghazi. And you think she just had these guys killed? Really? You think Hillary Clinton had these men killed? Truly. It's just, but the Daily News is a real newspaper, and the editorial page, even the Wall Street Journal is a great newspaper. If you can stay away from the editorial page is right-wing opinion. That's what it is. But people don't know what they're reading. Anyway, the Daily News editorial board wrote this 40, 50-page article. It is so unbelievable. And it's all split up into chapters. So they actually have little toolbars to help you navigate the page because there's so much there. And it's in my homework. This one, it says select a chapter. And the first chapter is the demagogue. And it says the New York Daily News, it says, when deliberating over a presidential endorsement, the Daily News editorial board strives to identify the person who offers the greatest promise to brighten the futures of Americans and to safeguard the national security. Never have we questioned a candidate's fitness to serve. Then came Donald Trump. Liar, thief, bully, hypocrite, sexual victimizer, and unhinged, self-adoring demagogue. The 16-month campaign since Trump's vaingloriously, I didn't even know that was the word, vaingloriously, I like that, entered the race has horrifyingly revealed that the big lie, brazenly told, built on smaller falsehoods and spread by social media and a lust for TV ratings, can bring the United States to the brink of electing an aspiring strongman with no moral bearing or self-control. But now, with his defeat all but certain, Trump is conjuring for his followers demons that conspire to destroy them and the nation. Chillingly, he refused in Wednesday night's debate to commit to honoring the results of the November election. Doing so, he questioned the fundamental soundness of Americans' democracy. Trump's reckless willingness to damage trust in the electoral process in order to save face and hold leadership of the paranoid wing of U.S. politics is the most pressing reason why voters must defeat him in a landslide. I agree. It has to be a landslide. And now I know why. Mike Roman is going to run the election protection for Donald Trump. Now, turning to another newspaper, this is the Guardian UK US edition, okay? This is Ben Jacobs who writes this in Washington, D.C. He said, Donald Trump's election protection effort will be run by Mike Roman, a Republican operative best known for promoting a video of apparent voter intimidation by the new Black Panthers outside a polling place in 2008. Roman is to oversee poll watching efforts as Trump undertakes an unprecedented effort by a major party nominee by calling into question the legitimacy of the popular vote weeks before Election Day. The Republican nominee has insisted, without evidence, that dead people and undocumented immigrants are voting in the U.S. Trump has long claimed that the 2016 election is rigged, but has amplified his claim of voter fraud in recent days. On Monday, he tweeted, of course there's large-scale voter fraud happening on and before Election Day. Why do Republican leaders deny what is going on? So naive. In particular, Trump claimed in an interview with Fox News that voter fraud was rampant in cities including Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Chicago, after long warning vaguely about fraud in certain communities. Multiple sources have confirmed to The Guardian that Mike Roman, who also previously ran the Koch network's now defunct internal intelligence agency, will oversee the Trump campaign's efforts to monitor polling places for any side of voter fraud or any sign of voting. Roman is best known for his role in promoting a video that showed two members of the new Black Panthers, a fringe group that claims descent from the 1960s radicals, standing outside a Philly polling place dressed in uniforms with one carrying a nightstick. Police were called and the two men left. A Justice Department investigation into the incident, of course, filed in the weeks before George W. Bush left office, became a political football that divided career lawyers within the Justice Department. The incident was repeatedly cited as evidence of Democrats setting out to harm the election process. The case was dropped, but not before it became a conservative cause celeb, as Rick Hassan, an election law professor at the University of California, Irvine, said. It was one of the most retold stories on Fox News, and the right, for years, it took on mythical status as evidence of thuggery by Democrats to harm the voting process. Hassan views the case as a complete tempest in a teapot and said of Roman that he was, quote, somebody who has been more willing to put forth more outrageous statements about voter fraud and election process. I don't consider him a very responsible voice among Republicans on this question, and I am not surprised that Trump would be using him for polling-related efforts. The Trump campaign did not respond for requests for comment. So be very, very alert, St. Louis. Be very alert, Philadelphia. Be very alert, Chicago. There's going to be voter intimidation on Election Day at the polls conducted by Mike Roman. And the exit polls. Stay with the trusted sources for news. ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. Stay away from Fox News and stay away from these right-wing lunatic websites like Breitbart, which, Breitbart is the campaign manager for Donald Trump. When you're reading that, you're reading propaganda put out by the Trump campaign. Literally. So they're crowdfunding so Roger Stone, who is an unofficial advisor, can do his own exit polling and come up with counterintuitive and counterfactual exit polls, exit poll numbers. So we have this effort now that we know to harass minority voters, making a nightmare of the inner cities, making the world that he envisions the inner city, that Chicago is. I mean, I'm so sick to my stomach to learn this, but I want everyone to understand it. We'll go over it on Election Day and before Election Day, too. All right, Victor in San Francisco.
Yeah, no worries. All right.
Hi. May I help you?
Hi. Hello, are you talking to me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking to a client. I'm at work.
Oh, okay.
He's in a meeting.
You're in a meeting.
So, yeah. The guy,
See, my audience works. They're in meetings. They're multitasking, okay?
And we also buy the podcast.
Yay!
We love the podcast.
Thank
we were
you.
listening to it yesterday, and I was getting a little nervous. Everyone thinks this thing's over suddenly, and they're going, he's trying to lose it now. He doesn't really want to be president. I got a feeling that this, you got to get, I have in the background. I still have you in the background. It's kind of screwing me up here a little bit. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It's confusing because you're still in the background. Okay, anyway, I think Bannon's got something up his sleeve on Hillary, and I think WikiLeaks has something, and I think we need to pretend that this thing is a dead heat. We need to get everyone to vote without a doubt. We need everyone's got to vote because I think something's going to come out. It's going to be a November surprise, maybe November 1st or 2nd. Something terrible is going to come out against Hillary. I just got a terrible feeling.
I don't know what. I don't think she's done anything terrible.
Yeah, anyway, I just love the new show. The show is awesome. You got all kinds of movie references, and believe me, I catch every one of them. All the Godfather and Goodfellas, and I can't have it. I can't have.
Well, you know, when he
I remember that was
invited Malik Obama, wasn't that just like the Frank Pantangeli Senate scene? I mean, wasn't that the same? Like, who is this man? This is his brother, and he's come from Italy on his own dime, to give his brother support in his time of need. And all of a sudden, I mean, that was amazing. Frank Pantangeli looks and he sees his brother. It's like Malik Obama sitting in the audience, and he goes, "So the FBI said this, and I told him that." I mean, it was just amazing. That was right out of Godfather 2. I mean, seriously, right out of Godfather 2. I've never seen a person invite family members to intimidate candidates who aren't even on the stage. I mean, I said, he should have invited Roger Clinton if he was trying to throw her off her game. Daryl in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hello.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, I voted today.
Yay!
And, I voted in the great state of Georgia, which is extremely Republican.
Wait, I thought you were in Tennessee.
Well, actually, I live on the border.
Did you vote in both states?
No. No, I did not. I live on the border of the Tennessee-Georgia line.
Oh, yeah, you're in Chattanooga. I've been to your town. What happened to the choo-choo? It's the tracks are there, but the train's gone.
I don't know. I hadn't been down there yet.
Yeah. You got to go see it.
Now, Chattanooga's a great little town.
Yeah, it is.
It's growing. It's very quaint and very quiet. Nice place to retire.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool town. I like it.
The reason why I'm calling is I voted today.
Yeah.
Went in early.
Mm-hmm.
And down here, it's all highly Republican. You can't even mention Hillary's name. It's that bad. And so I went in there, and it was packed. And I asked one of the poll people there what's going on, and they said that they've had an extremely high turnout already. So the point is don't count that Hillary's going to win, because the Trumpeteers are going to be coming out and vote.
Yes, they will. Everybody is who's for Trump will vote. There's no question. And unless they were ineligible all along and forgot to register, which is what Donald Trump did in 2004. He forgot to register to vote, and he couldn't vote. He had to vote provisional. So yes, it is crazy. But I'm telling everybody, this has got to be a blowout. It has to be big, resounding, undeniable. It can't be like Florida, 2000 with 535 votes separating, these two candidates. It's got to be, like a major, voter turnout. So it's got to be bigger than the Barack Obama first election. That's for sure.
Well, I agree with the previous caller that there might be something up these people's sleeves, as they say.
I just told you.
Yeah.
There's going to be. Yep. Listen, voter fraud is very rare in this country, but what is not rare in this country is voter suppression, intimidation, ballots that aren't clear, like they have two answers, amendments that are written ass backwards. There's a lot of strange stuff that happens on the ballot. The reason why Florida was Florida in 2000 was because the ballot was the butterfly ballot, and the holes didn't align next to the candidate you wanted to choose his name, So there's lots of little games that get played. There's lots of, suppression where a college ID isn't good enough for ID, but, an NRA membership card is. Lots of that going on. So make sure, that everybody shows up, make sure everybody votes. Robert in Naples.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Good.
I want to talk about Maria Bartiromo. Oh, my God.
Whoa, baby. And I got a set on me, but I don't show them like that. I think that there's a certain age, Maria. So, you know what? I have these rules. If you're over a 36D, no tube tops. Okay? And if you're over 40, I don't know about all that she had going on there. I don't know.
I know what she was doing, Randy. You know what she was doing? She was getting back at all the Catholic school dress code, and she said, you know what? They can't give me detention for a week anymore. I'm going to let it fly. And you know what? She outdid Melania there, Trump.
Yeah.
She stole everybo's eyes.
Oh my God! I couldn't take my eyes off. I'm a girl. I mean, I know the guys were enjoying it, but as a girl, I'm just going, whose bra is that? What is that bra? I want that bra. That bra is like made of steel. Look how hard that bra is working.
Randy, I almost sent my wife in the other room. I said, honey, take a walk. Go gas up the car. Go gas up the car and dim the lights. But I did call for this.
Okay.
I want to know. did he write his own stuff or?
Oh,
or,
hell no. No.
Well, then you got to give the bastard a little out, a little leeway.
Okay, we'll give the bastard a little out. Well, maybe what he did was go off script, like he always does. Maybe that wasn't on the page. Maybe the jokes were, the jokes that he told, like the one he told about, Melania giving the same speech as Michelle. That was hysterical. That was a great joke. It was.
Even his pardon joke was, I bumped into her and she said, "Pardon me," and he goes, "Well, let me be president first."
That was. I gotta say,
clever.
that joke is older than the crack in grandma's ass. Okay, that's a really, really old lawyer's joke. Okay,
but he let it land good. He did it.
He did. He let it land. But then he tagged it with, I'll get back to her when I'm the president. Do you know what I mean? He ruined it. And it seemed to me that somebody wrote a really good, standard joke, easy to do, and that he felt the need to go off script and tag it and ruin it. There's no question in my mind that whoever wrote those jokes did not write what he said. There's just no right. Because
I agree with you.
I doubt any comedy writer would have said that Hillary pretends to hate Catholics or that Hillary hates Catholics at a Catholic Charities dinner where both of them have been guests before. First of all, nobody would do that to Al Smith. I mean, I'm a New Yorker. This is a very big dinner in New York. It's huge. There's a couple other dinners that are, noteworthy, but but those two are in Washington. There's the Gridiron dinner that I still pray I live long enough to get an invitation to. And then there's the Correspondence dinner, which I have been to. But I've never been invited to the Gridiron. That's the big one where, Stephen Colbert and the president or Wanda Sykes. She was fabulous. Remember Wanda Sykes, at the first Obama Gridiron dinner? She was like, we don't know if he's black, but if he does bad, he is. And if he does good, he's white. You know what I mean? Loved her. But that's the big one, the Gridiron. I've never been to that one. But I have been to the Correspondence, and I've never been to Al Smith. But it's a big, big thing. Nobody would have written that joke. Nobody. He went off script. But the one Melania joke he did tell was at his wife's expense. Not even that would be qualifying as self-deprecating. It was at her expense.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
This week on The Stephanie Miller Show.
Are we going to get to the election, or is this going to be like old Geller and we're Mr. Trump? It's time to go in the shed. This is really
don't know what we're going to do. Stephanie, I don't know.
I mean, this man is crazy. And let me tell you something. I just told Angela in the car, I need everybody from the GOP on November 9th to, you owe America an apology.
Handwritten. Every one of them. Every American gets an apology. We are so sorry we put you through this.
Yes.
This was all of our fault. And we should all get some coupons from like IHOP or something.
Right. And Bed Bath & Beyond.
Bed Bath & Beyond. And not that 20% coupon you get every week.
Yeah.
I want a good coupon.
We're going to need some pancakes up in this shizzle.
That's what I'm saying.
This has not been funny.
I mean, yesterday, this whole week has just been... I'm crying with the First Lady.
That speech was amazing.
Joanne Reed tweeted, if all of us, this is as painful to us as grown women, what do you think of what this is doing to our children? Michelle Obama preaching now.
Yes.
Joy tweeted, we cannot expose our children to this any longer, not for another minute, not for 4 years. Michelle Obama saying enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
I mean...
She's going to, don't make her pull this country over.
That's
she's going to do it.
I know.
And that's the way she talked to everybody. She was like that mom when you're like a junior and you're like you got into early admissions.
Yep.
But you are not
ready.
You
ain't ready.
You ain't doing it right. And she pulls you over and she says, act right. Okay, you've been out till 11:45 every night drinking.
I can see your panties.
I can see your panties.
That's not
America.
Right. That's not right.
That's right.
I'm seeing your butt cheeks.
No, and it's like I just felt like
America, we're seeing your butt cheeks.
This whole week is like reliving every time you've ever been harassed.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of men, even like friends of mine, people who are progressive, liberal, really cool men, I see the shock on their faces when they realize we don't even tell you about 99% of the stuff that goes down because it's just too regular.
Did you like his defense that she wasn't hot enough for him to
sexually harass? There were so many moments when I was like,
America,
why?
America, let's review. Rape, sexual assault is not about sex. It's about power.
No.
Right.
At that moment, I was like, I need to be like the Mockingjay and learn how to use an arrow. Because if I could just use a bow and arrow, I could do this right up.
It is not possible that anyone is undecided in this election. Not possible. It is also not possible that if you love Mama and all the sexy liberals on the 2016 comedy tour, John Fugelsang and Frangela, that you have not gone to fathomevents.com and gotten your tickets for the election party of the year on Monday, November 7th. Everyone can have a front row seat for the sexy liberal comedy tour, filmed just days before in LA and showing for just one night in cinemas almost everywhere. Go to fathomevents.com to find a theater near you.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
I love you, Randy.
This is more than just the usual standard lie. Because when you suggest rigging or fraud without a shred of evidence, when last night at the debate, Trump becomes the first major party nominee in American history to suggest that he will not concede despite losing the vote, and then says today that he will accept the results if he wins.
Oh, man.
That is not a joking matter. No, I want everybody to pay attention here. That is dangerous. Because when you try to sow the seeds of doubt in people's minds about the legitimacy of our elections, that undermines our democracy. Then you're doing the work of our adversaries for them. Because our democracy depends on people knowing that their vote matters. That those who occupy the seats of power were chosen by the people. Even when your preferred candidate loses, even when you are the one who's running and you lose, you've got to see the bigger picture and say that here in America, we believe in democracy and we accept the will of the people.
I mean,
We have a bunch of babies running our country.
Oh, we have a bunch of babies running our country, he says. Yeah. Honest to God, man, this is really unprecedented. First of all, this whole last 16 months has been the most bizarre, distorted American electoral process ever. I mean, it's just, it wasn't a competition of ideas. It was a reach for power, based on some cultish thirst for vengeance. This man presented and painted such a dark picture of our nation to our nation. And there were so many people out there that were willing to say, out of one side of their mouth, America first, and out of the other side of their mouth, America sucks. America's terrible. America blows. America's evil. It's bad. It's corrupt. It's, I've never seen an election like this. And, the political obituary of Donald Trump and all that he stands for cannot be written fast enough for me. Jose in Miami.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going today?
Good.
I went ahead and I was on Periscope just looking for topics on Trump here, and I came across your channel being live, and I wanted to say that even though we do share different political views, I do like the setup that you have, and I do like the the work that you're doing, and I hope to one day be in a position similar to the one that you have.
Are you interested in doing political talk?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Well, you should contact us and, see what your skill set is. Maybe you could start here.
Got it. All right, well, listen, I appreciate that. Now, I called because I wanted to comment on basically the way Trump has had to go about handling his media gathering media attention gathering.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when he was running against Republicans, the media was very active around Trump. He did get a lot. I think we can agree that he got a lot of cheap media.
Free.
Yeah, free media access.
Yeah.
And but then
$1 trillion worth.
Yeah, probably possibly more. There was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I then when the election came to Hillary and Trump, that started to change, and we do see the channels kind of, not giving them much attention, and when they do, it's mostly negative from what I'm seeing. I think that Trump knows that the only way he's going to get any type of viewing on mainstream media is if he says something that's maybe a lie, maybe nasty, maybe outrageous, and then he also sends a real quote or a real line or some reality along with it. Because if he just goes out there and behaves like a gentleman and, says a lot of truthful things, wears a nice smile, but doesn't generate viewership, I don't think he's going to get anybody to... I don't think he'll get any airtime.
Well,
I don't think he'll get any airtime.
Well, Hillary is a stand-up girl. She's, talking issues and trying to talk policy at the debate. And, if she wants media time, then she spends money. That's, and buys commercials. What's wrong with Donald Trump doing the same? Why does he have to lie to the American people and create this, America sucks, dark, ominous image for, kids? Why does he have to, abuse women? Why does he have to, denigrate Latinos? Why does he have to denigrate women? Why does he have to denigrate Muslims? I mean, honestly, what is the point of that? Why doesn't he just spend money like every other candidate does? Or like last night, you had the Al Smith dinner. Well, of course, the eyes of the world were on him, right? And he could have made a really funny, self-deprecating, friendly gesture, which is what that dinner is supposed to be about. And instead, he just attacked her and said she hates Catholics. What was that?
Well, basically, again, it goes back to, if I am not politically correct and I speak and I'm a straight shooter and I
understand political correctness is something people are sick of, but there's still decency, no?
There is decency, but unfortunately it doesn't get you elected. What's the perfect example of that?
Well, it's going to get her elected.
Well, and we'll see. We'll see. You could be right 100%. I think this election's going to be tight. Yeah. I do not think it's going to be a landslide.
Okay. Well, Jose, I like talking to you. I get that you're a Trump supporter. I hear it in your the way that you approach it. I would love to talk to you after the election, and we'll see what happens. We can look county by county and see, what went on and dissect it and, really learn from it. I think it's a good opportunity for you and for me, and I'm so glad that you found us. We're always looking for, somebody with a great skill set. So if that's, something that you've got, contact us.
All right. It's definitely something I'll take into consideration.
Okay.
And I appreciate you having me on the show.
Sure. And thanks for calling us. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. A Trump supporter you could talk to. That's so rare that I have to invite him. I need to see him, meet him, touch him, make sure he's real. I have to, help him. Maybe even employ him. More than Donald Trump will do for him. No, really, that was amazing to me. A Trump supporter that you could speak with. I'm stunned and shocked. What a gift on a Friday. Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much.
And that Periscope, that social media, getting the word out, finding you.
Yeah. Learning this business has been an eye-opener. But, we're smart. We can learn. It's amazing. And now we have great people that are willing to teach us. Reaching Jose. Woohoo. Good job.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. Hi, we're back, and everything is possible again. Isn't it beautiful? Well, if you want to keep it this way, buy a stinking podcast. Oh, yes. you have to buy a stinking podcast. And you get that at randyrhodes.com, where we're open all day, all night long. randyrhodes.com. Get your stinking podcast.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a production of Diversified Media Enterprises. I'm Doug Cunningham. Thousands of faculty at 14 Pennsylvania State University System campuses went on strike Wednesday, virtually shutting down the university system. The faculty union waited through the night for the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education to return to the bargaining table before finally deciding to strike. Using a mobile phone from the picket line Wednesday, Dr. Kenneth Mash of the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties said the strike started strong with student support.
I don't know what more you could expect from what my members delivered today on the campuses. Long picket lines, virtually nobody in the classroom, students joining the picket line. I think we've closed down the university. But having said that, it's still very sad. This is not how we should be using our energy. We should be in the classroom teaching our students, and our students should be learning.
The university system wanted to cut adjunct professor compensation, which would have disproportionately impacted women faculty.
They've pulled back on their harshest proposal to cut adjunct faculty by 20%, but yet they still create this differential by offering salaries of one size general pay increases to our tenure and tenure track faculty members and 1% to the adjunct faculty members. So they're trying to create this differential and to do it, to separate them out in a different way. We know what's going on. They're trying to divide us and create two tiers of people. Now, we told them 60% of our adjuncts are females. You're creating a pay equity issue here on our campuses. Why would we be willing to be a part of that?
Hundreds of Harvard dining hall workers are in the third week of their strike at the richest university in the world. They took their cause to the Boston City Council, but the council was expected to offer a resolution of support for the strike. The workers represented by Unite Here Local 26 are demanding at least $35,000 a year and an end to Harvard shifting more healthcare costs to the workers. Despite a $35 billion endowment and a budget surplus, Harvard is refusing to pay decent wages, and the university is reportedly trying to use scab labor to bust the strike. This Saturday, October 22nd, the striking Harvard dining hall workers will hold a major mobilization rally and support march for the strike. It starts at 3 p.m. at Cambridge Common. 4,000 IUE CWA Local 83761 workers may be headed for strike action at GE Appliance Park in Louisville, Kentucky. The workers voted to authorize a strike unless labor contract talks produce agreement on a new contract. General Electric Appliance Park is owned by a Chinese company, Haier Group. The Chinese company wants to lower pay for workers at the GE manufacturing facility. Starting workers there make $15 an hour, or about $30,000 a year.
Brought to you by Union Active, your certified iOS and Android mobile app developer, offering high-quality, union-made mobile apps backed by a support team which upgrades your product to every new mobile operating system. Features, pricing, and examples are online at unionactive.com.
You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
Your phone can be a source for progressive power. Yes, it can. Credo Mobile is a progressive phone company. So what does that mean? It means every month they take a share of their revenue, more than $150,000, and donate it to incredible progressive organizations like Friends of the Earth, Project Vote, Social Security Works, the Brennan Center for Justice. Even better, Credo lets people vote every month to determine how they divide this pool of funding. Not only does Credo fund progressive causes, but you get to use the phone of your choice with great service. Right now, Credo has a special deal for Randi Rhodes Show listeners. Go to credo.com/Randy and get $150 off any smartphone of your choice, plus 50% off unlimited talk and text for 1 year. Just go to credo.com/Randy, 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 or call 1-888-533-8225 and tell them Randy from the Randi Rhodes Show sent you. The phone company that represents your values, credo.com/Randy.
On the eve of the most important election of our time, bring your friends to an unprecedented event. The Sexy Liberal Tour goes coast to coast.
Give it up for yourselves, sexy liberals. God bless you.
Monday, November 7th, just one night.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen.
The Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour comes to your town. It's a special Get Out the Vote rally with a new original show in theaters nationwide on the eve of the election.
What would you like to see a new government bring in? More wine.
You've told your friends about it. Now show them what sexy liberal is all about. Stephanie Miller, John Fugelsang, and comedy duo Frangela are eager to make you laugh and get out the vote. The Sexy Liberal Show and Fathom Events make it possible for the #1 political comedy tour to come to your city with this one-of-a-kind event at select cinemas nationwide, Monday, Election Eve, November 7th. For more information and tickets, visit fathomevents.com.
If there's still a world left when this is all over, I'd like to buy you a beer.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Mary had a little lamb. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Okay.
Turn up your mind.
Men of all backgrounds and walks of life agreeing that decent men do not demean women. And we shouldn't tolerate this behavior from any man, let alone a man who wants to be the president. For some reason, Hillary's opponent comes from a different place. I don't know, perhaps living life high up in a tower in a world of exclusive clubs, measuring success by wins and losses, the number of zeros in your bank account, perhaps you just develop a different set of values. Maybe with so little exposure to people who are different than you, becomes easy to take advantage of those who are down on their luck. Folks who play by the rules pay what they owe. Because to you, those folks just aren't very smart. And if you think this way, then it's easy to see this country as us versus them. And it's easy to dehumanize them, to treat them with contempt, because you don't know them. You can't even see them. Maybe that's why this candidate thinks certain immigrants are criminals, instead of folks who work their fingers to the bone to give their kids a better life, to help build the greatest nation on earth, because he doesn't really know them. Maybe that's why he demeans and humiliates women as if we're objects meant solely for pleasure and entertainment rather than human beings worthy of love and respect. He just doesn't understand us.
We have a bunch of babies running our
Why does that keep popping up? I'm so sick of hearing
following
him say
us.
that. It is following me. She's the secret weapon. She's incredible. She's amazing. There in the homework, I think Wednesday or Thursday at randyrhodes.com, there are these 4 thank you notes to Michelle Obama, and the first one is insanely good. It is worthy of copying and sharing, or Facebooking it, tweeting it, whatever. It is just the most amazing letter recognizing who Michelle Obama is and how powerful she is in her own right, and what a decent, loving spouse and woman she is. And every time she speaks, I just feel her. She's amazing, and she's very, very classy in the way that she explains the demagoguery or the prejudices or the false claims or the cultishness of the opponent. She hardly ever says his name. I don't think she's ever said his name. He's Voldemort to her. And frankly, she does a beautiful job of taking the high road when he has taken the lowest of the low road, that he's like tunneling underneath the presidency. You know, he's tunneling underneath democracy in order to find his way into the Oval. And, I mean, we're in serious trouble, people. We're in serious trouble if this comes to fruition. All right, Jay in Nevada. May I help you?
Maybe he's in a meeting.
All right, check back with your secretary and schedule me when you have a brief moment. Stacy in Omaha.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay, because I'm using my hands-free calling. Anyhow, I talked to your producer, back in July when Putin, or when Trump asked Putin to, hack the emails, because I said that they always cut off the clip right before he says, we'll see what's going to happen, that'll be next. And I think that there's not necessarily a November surprise, but I think Putin is, I don't know what he's doing to Edward Snowden to make him able to do this, but he is asking states to let them be poll watchers, Russians be poll watchers, and he's hacked registration databases. And even if he can't, hack the vote, he can cause enough doubt that it's going to be a big mess. And I don't understand how all of these Republicans who were scared of socialist Bernie aren't scared of KGB Putin.
I know. They love the communism. It's so interesting. And I think Obama pointed that out earlier this week, where he was saying, these Republicans, they used to hate communists. They saw communists under every bed, under every shoe. They saw communists in the walls. The commies were coming to get you. It was the big Red Scare, right? Now all of a sudden they love the communists. They love oligarchy. They love, a cronyism, because that's what Russia is. It's a combination of communist, cronyist, oligarchs. So it is a weird thing to hear Republicans, although there are fewer and fewer of them, supporting Donald Trump when Donald Trump loves Russian involvement in our election. It's the most bizarre election. Again, I keep telling you, I've never seen anything like it. And, I used to be able to say, there's nothing new under the sun. Well, this is new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely in hock to them. And, the only thing
if he would release his tax returns, we would know whether or not Donald Trump is in hock to the Russians, as you say, whether or not he owes them money. But he won't release his tax returns. And so we're just left to wonder, because you can't prove that he is and you can't prove that he isn't. And we only go with what we can prove. And we can't prove either way. We do have him on tape, obviously, saying he's inviting the Russians to hack the Democratic National Committee. He's inviting the Russians to hack Hillary Clinton's personal email servers. He's inviting the Russians into our elections, and he's telling them, you'll be rewarded if you do it.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say, and then I'll let you go, is the Cardinal, I guess last night, had some backstage moment when they were actually nice to each other. And, and Hillary said, whichever way this works out, we're going to have to work together. And you know how Trump is always projecting everything? So his joke about the pardon, I think the only way he'll give her a break is if she pardons him for all the stuff that he's got down the road, the rape, the Trump University, the Trump Foundation. He's in trouble.
Well, none of those are. I guess the Trump University fraud case is criminal. It's in a federal court, and it's filed under a RICO statute. So, could be.
Yeah,
could be. And
anyhow, thanks.
You're welcome. And then, of course, on December 16th, before we actually swear in the next president, on December 16th, there's going to be a hearing on the status of the case against Donald Trump that was brought by a girl who claims that he raped her when she was 13. And that case, the court, organizes the case, going forward. And so you have this meeting in the court that they're going to meet on December 16th to figure out, how long everybody has for discovery and, what the next step is. But that's going to happen on December 16th. Now, can you imagine if Donald Trump, oh God, I can't make myself say it, but, he's waiting to be sworn in, let's say, right? And then December 16th comes rolling around, and all of a sudden, the court finds that Donald Trump that there's enough, evidence in these documents that were filed with the court to go forward with this rape case of a 13-year-old girl who claims that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, who's already a convicted child molester, had a party with underage girls. She was one of them, and that Donald Trump, raped her. I mean, that's crazy, but it's kind of where we're going. If something happens and the election is contested for the same amount of days that Florida was. Florida was contested for 36 days. That could happen. It's crazy. Oh, no, you're on that line. Reggie in Decatur?
Yes, happy Friday to you, Randy, and to your husband, /call screener to Howard. Mm-hmm. Happy Friday to you. Mm-hmm. Hey, I would just like to bring up something that you were talking about this past week. It was about the mainstream media. And you said that way back in the day, it used to have a license in order to be a news journalist, a reporter, or even a radio talk show host.
Well, you had to have a license to be on the radio.
Yes.
You didn't need a license to be on the television, but you did have to have a degree in journalism, and you had to meet journalistic standards. So, because the idea here was that all you have to sell, all you have to offer your viewers is your credibility. So facts mattered. But that's right. Now the news falls under the entertainment division in these TV stations, and no, you don't need a license to be a broadcaster anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think all that got thrown out the window along with the FCC and the fairness doctrine. I mean, I wish we can reinstate those two things for radio and TV. Or is it too late? I mean, I don't think
people understand what the fairness doctrine was. Okay, and it wasn't what you think it is. If you think that it was equal time, it wasn't. The fairness, if you want to see what the fairness doctrine looks like when it actually was in play, you can still see it. The State of the Union is the perfect example. The State of the Union, the president of whatever party gives the State of the Union. Following the State of the Union, the opposing party gives their 5-minute rebuttal. That's what the fairness doctrine is. So that it's just a fair chance to make a rebuttal. It isn't equal time. It isn't, what we need, because of all this media that we have now, because of, Facebook, Twitter, you can watch, talk shows. Obviously, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Netflix needs more content. Hulu needs more content. It's just going to spread and spread and spread. And that's fine. The more the merrier. But we need standards if you're going to brand yourself as news. Other than that, the title of news, the branding of whatever you're doing as news should not and cannot be made. You can't call Fox News Fox News. Now, MSNBC does not say they're news. They say they're the place for politics. And in that way, they're more honest going, from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. So we have to learn how to separate.
Yes. What I'm fighting for is things like, how Twitter verifies that I am Randi Rhodes. I had to, give documents to Twitter to show them that I really am Randi Rhodes, that I do run this business. This business belongs to me. That my handle is my business also. You have to fork over a lot of documents, and then you get the verified check mark. You get the blue check mark. News sites need to separate themselves from bloggers, from propagandists, from cult leaders, from struggling wannabes, never will be's. They need to separate themselves with a verified check mark from whatever platform they're on. And if it doesn't exist, as it does in Twitter, if it doesn't exist, for instance, in Facebook, if it doesn't exist on Hulu, if it doesn't exist on Netflix, if it doesn't exist on, whatever you want, then it needs to be created. The companies need to create something that verifies that what you are about to listen to is factual, is fact-checked, there's an ombudsman, an ombudsman is somebody who makes, you ever see the corrections in the newspaper? And it says, correction, we said Jerry E. Smith, and it's Jerry A. Smith, like that. That's what they would have to promise to do in order to be verified. Have somebody that fact checks everything that goes out on that show. Other than that, it should be labeled entertainment, period. Because that's all it is. Now, on my tax returns, what does it say I am? I could say I'm a journalist, but I don't. I say I'm an entertainer. Because I don't have somebody to check my facts. You're my fact checker. And if I get it wrong, trust me, people call in all the time. It's the Rolling Stones, okay? Last week, I was wondering if the Rolling Stones had told Donald Trump not to play their music, and that if they had, the thing to do would be to go through YouTube and complain, because YouTube are the copyright Nazis. And I can't tell you how many people. I mean, I probably got 1,000 responses from people sending me articles from all across the world telling me that the Rolling Stones are in a bitter legal dispute with Donald Trump over the use of what song does he play? I can't. You can't always get what you want. So I say this because everything Donald Trump does in the courts is always settled. Let him use sympathy for the devil. And that's it.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
With the Dow rallying back to recent highs, everything looks good on the surface, but the underlying data is saying something very different. Experts are saying another recession may be on the horizon, and if Trump wins the election, who knows how bad things will get. Are you comfortable with Trump holding the keys to America's economic future? Well, hell no. He scares the crap out of me. So there's something that we all need to do. Protect yourselves. My friends at ITM Trading teach people how to use gold and silver as wealth protection in uncertain economic times. They make owning gold and silver a very simple process, and they even ship it right to your door absolutely free. So call my friends at ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask them to send you a free gold kit. It outlines how to protect yourself with gold and silver. Learn what you need to. Get started today. ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD, and protect yourself today. Tell them Randy sent you.
Hello, Progressive Voices tune-in listeners. I'm Casey Hobbs.
And I'm Shane Mason, and we're the hosts of Nurse Talk Radio.
Here's what we're talking about this week.
Colorado Care Amendment 69 would bring universal health care to every resident of Colorado, regardless of their immigration status. We're very proud of that. And it would provide coverage much more comprehensive than what the Affordable Care Act does. It really moves us to a Medicare for all type model in Colorado. And, we have such tremendous support for it here. And we see that all the usual suspects in terms of opposition, the insurance companies, big pharma, they're all weighing in with big money on the airwaves. So, yep, we're out canvassing and trying to get the word out to as many Colorado voters as we possibly can that under this plan, you'd save so much money, we'd save so many lives, and there's just nothing that should prevent us from moving forward on this.
85% of all medical errors can be linked to poor communication and disruptive behavior among healthcare professionals. Do you notice, is bullying more prevalent in our profession than other professions?
Oh, yes. While nurses can be so caring and compassionate to their patients, we can be so horrific to each other. There's a problem here. You both know this. Mm-hmm. We work in unpredictable environments, and we have more stress at work. We are being asked to do more and more with less and less. You know, the higher acuity of the patient loads that we have makes it less likely for us to all behave in a professional manner and more likely for us to sort of lash out at each other. We're starting down another, path to a nursing shortage.
Check out our show at nursetalksite.com and listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on Progressive Voices.
I am super sexually satisfied. I'm genuinely 100% more satisfied with my sex life than I was before Randi Rhodes came back on the air. Hi, I'm the Howard, and yes, it's true. I'm actually 100% more sexually satisfied than I was just one day ago. And I didn't grow a mustache. I didn't get an awesome new tattoo, and I didn't join a CrossFit gym either. I just bought a Randi Rhodes Air Force t-shirt. And when I did, I told Randi, well, there, I've done my part. How do I look in my awesome new Randi Rhodes Air Force 100% super soft cotton tee? And Randi said, that's it? That's all you did to support this unfreaking, unbelievably hard effort? Okay, Howard, go fuck yourself. So I did. And I have to tell you, I still got it. Get your super soft Randi Rhodes t-shirt at randyrhodes.com. Just click on podcasts and swag and order yours today. You'll feel a lot better after you tell Randi.
All things Randi at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right. Amy in Nutley, New Jersey. Hello.
Hey, Randi. I voted today as well. I sent in my mail-in ballot.
Good.
So I'm very happy about that. I'm a Democratic challenger in my county. So I actually wanted to talk about the process because I know you have a lot of trolls who are listening to the show.
Yes.
And unfortunately right now, but...
no, fortunately.
Fortunately, hopefully we can educate.
I mean, listen, preaching
me.
Well, preaching to the choir is a great thing, and we have a good thing going here, and we have for probably 14 years, something like that. But the ability to talk to people who don't agree with you, for me, is more valuable. In that I followed Rush Limbaugh for how many years? 8 years, something like this. And inheriting his audience and being able to hear, the other side has made me, a much better broadcaster. So I'm grateful to the people that don't agree with me for listening.
And it's made me a much better debater, too.
Of course.
By talking to people who don't agree with me. So anyway, on Election Day, and by the way, there are poll watchers there from both parties. Mm-hmm. And the people who are the poll workers have been there for years, at least in my town. They even recognize me after a while, because I always go to vote. So they say, oh, hey, and I have no idea if they're Republicans or Democrats. They're a mix of both. And the machines are not hooked up to the outside, because I used to be concerned about election fraud and election rigging as well since 2000 and that whole debacle.
Okay.
And I have to say that the machines are not hooked up to anything on the outside, at least to any internet connections, so they can't be hacked from the outside. What could happen later is that somebody, when they turn in those boxes, that something could be flipped. But it would be nearly impossible, because at the end of the day, they print out the votes in a paper form, and they give copies to all of the to both parties. I get a copy to take back to headquarters, and my Republican counterpart gets a copy to take back to headquarters, and we count up the votes in all of the districts. And, we phone it into the county so that everybody is kind of watching at the same time, and the numbers add up.
Right.
And, my county is mostly Democratic, but in my particular district is Republican leaning. I live in a town that's, maybe 65% Republican. And so, it would be very difficult to steal an election here.
Well, here's what I like to say, and this is it in a nutshell. You have 50 states, and each state holds elections. And then each county holds elections. You have so many, you have 50 separate elections in this country. That's why it's impossible to steal an election, because every state is doing its own election, and it's under the auspices of the Secretary of State of your state. And then at the county level, you have county election supervisors that you've elected, and they all oversee each county. So you have literally thousands of elections going on, thousands of them. It's impossible to rig an election. What happened in Florida in 2000 was that there was the amount of votes that were cast for Bush and the amount of votes that were cast for Gore were separated by 530.
Less than 1,000 votes triggers an automatic recount.
Was 535 votes separating the two men, and every county, every state has rules for contesting an election. Everybody, because when it's within the margin of error, they demand a recount. Now, that recount happens by hand. There are paper ballots that are fed into counting machines. Those paper ballots are retained. And provisional ballots. And the provisional ballots aren't counted unless there's an automatic recount triggered. Right. But I will tell you...
And people were turned away at the polls. And that's where the fraud comes in.
That's not...
when you have purging of the voter roll.
No, now we have to be really careful with language. Words matter. So that's not fraud. That's suppression. That's suppression. That's voter
you're right.
suppression.
You're right.
And there's a difference between in-person voter fraud, which does not happen, meaning dead people or people stealing the identity of a dead person shows up and votes under that person's name. After 1 billion ballots in this country have been cast since 2000, only 31 instances of any in-person voter fraud has ever been discovered, and 31 instances are not going to change the results of any election when they're spread out across the country as they are. So it doesn't happen. It's 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. And what do you get for trying that? 1 vote. It's high risk, low return, and that's why nobody does it. So,
exactly.
Okay, and the other things that we're talking about, the voter ID laws, or telling people to vote on Wednesday, or standing in front of the polling place and blocking the doorway, or any of those things, or yelling at people, or whatever standing there with a locked and loaded weapon or something like that, and making somebody afraid to go into the polling booth. That's voter intimidation. Voter suppression is when they purge the voter lists, and they do it for felons, let's say. Because, that right there, that felons can't vote after they've paid their dues to society, that's voter suppression just in and of itself. That happens every election, right? But then let's say that let's say I'm the felon, okay? So Randi Rhodes is listed as a felon and I'm taken off the voter rolls. What if there's a Randi Rhodes in Texas, but she's Randi A. Rhodes, or he's Randi A. Rhodes, or Randi B. Rhodes, or he's Randi Rhodes, but he's a man, right? And he gets purged because I'm a felon in another that's voter suppression. That's what happens. That's what happened in Florida in 2000. They did a purge of the voter rolls. That's why we're so hyper about being purged. They did a purge of the voter rolls, and they took not only the felons, they did a current accounting of the current felons, but they also took people who had similar names off the voter rolls. People showed up to vote. They couldn't vote. They didn't understand why. It was because they were purged. That's voter suppression. Voter fraud is when you show up under somebody else's name, or you vote more than once, or you vote across state lines in 2 elections. That doesn't happen. There have been 7 law schools that have looked at it. There have been 6 government investigations. There have been newspaper investigations, and there's been court cases. None of them proved any voter fraud occurred, except for these 31 cases, and some of those were people who voted early and then died before Election Day. Those were the dead people that voted. They had voted alive, but then they died. And then it was election day. Now, I got to tell you something really scary. Reuters just did a Reuters Ipsos poll, and here's the results of their poll. And this is just frightening, too, so I'm just going to read it. You know, whenever the news is like that crazy, I just read it. From a legitimate news source, and Reuters is surely that, okay? Only half of Republicans will accept Clinton, the Democratic nominee, as their president. Only half. And if she wins, nearly 70% said it would be because of illegal voting or vote rigging, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll released today, Friday. Conversely, 70% of Democrats say they would accept a Trump victory. And less than 50% of Democrats would attribute it to illegal voting or vote rigging, the poll showed. So it's baked into the cake already. You got only 50% of all Republicans in this country will accept the results if Clinton wins. And 70% of them believe that if Clinton wins, it was due to vote rigging. This is what Donald Trump has done to our democracy. This is what he has done, talking down our process, which, by the way, we have 50 states, each conducting their own election. Because every state in the Constitution, every state chooses the manner in which they select their electors. Because, you know, you're voting for a slate of electors. You're not actually voting for the human. You're voting for a slate of electors to go to Washington and cast their votes for that candidate on behalf of that state. And the Constitution provides that the state gets to choose the manner in which that is done. So you have 50 states, 50 different elections going on, and then each county has a supervisor of elections who's also overseeing the local election, okay? There's no way to fix an election in this country. It just can't happen. Can't. Shannon in Portland, Oregon.
Hi, Randy. I'm a longtime listener, many years. Finally tracked you down again. And wanted to ask you a question that's kind of been floating around in the groups and families that I've been hanging with. Mm-hmm. And they keep talking about the possibility of Trump somehow, and I wanted to know what your thoughts were on this and how it would happen, but Trump stepping down and allowing Mike Pence to take the spot. I mean, people are talking about how well he did. Even Trump seemed jealous of his performance. I think people would really jump on him being the president over Trump.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Oh, I lost you. How'd that happen? Did we get hacked by the Russians?
I think there's a third attack happening in cyberspace.
There were 2 cyber attacks today. The cyber attacks occurred in New Hampshire against a company called DYN. And they run some of the biggest websites, you know, Amazon's website, Twitter's internet. So many. There
was a third that just, as we've been on the air,
really?
had happened, yeah. But it's under control.
It's under control.
Yes, Howard's on the case. He's on the story.
Howard's on it. He can't even print. He can't print a document.
I'm learning.
The font on this document, this Reuters Ipsos poll Howard got for me, is, if I were 6, I probably couldn't even read it. It's so tiny. So tiny.
We have to have a meeting.
Yeah. We have to show him how to print things. No, but this is really scary, this poll. Honestly, this Reuters Ipsos poll, this is freaking frightening. Only 50% will accept the results of our election if Hillary wins, because 70% of the Republicans believe that it would be because, if she won, it would be because of illegal voting or vote rigging, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll released on Friday today. That's freaking frightening. Vince in Akron.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, it's Friday, you bastards.
It's Friday, you nasty bastards.
2 things. I contributed to the Kickstarter, and I bought a stinking podcast.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think that the my experience with them is that feelings, not facts.
Your phone's being hacked.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's feelings, not facts.
Yeah, and it's anger. It's not feelings. It's just anger.
Right.
He has talked down America so hard and told everybody that we have the stupidest people, we have the stupidest military leaders, we have the stupidest trade deals, we have the stupidest Secretary of State, we have the stupidest legislators, we have the stupidest president. I mean, everything he said was how horrible America is, how horrible it is.
Right, and the things I get from people that I talk to is that Hillary's pro-abortion. She's guilty of Benghazi, and if good guys with guns would have been there, then it's just crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. Listen, the idea that she is pro-life. I mean, she is pro-choice. She will always be pro-choice. Most women are pro-choice. They may not choose that for themselves, the abortion part of it. Right. But they definitely, want to be able to have the government out of their uterus. Okay. I don't know a woman. Right. I know of, no woman who would say to her best friend who was hysterical crying, that she was, not in a position, whatever. And, it's just not going to be, the time is wrong. I want to live another day to have, a healthy baby, or I want to live another day, to have the baby, a family of my choosing. Secretly, women do this all the time. I don't care what their public, you talk about public-private. I've never met a woman who would deny her best friend, love and compassion if her best friend decided that she couldn't raise a child.
Absolutely. And, if the police or if like Sandra Bland, if she would have just obeyed the orders, and if, Tamir Rice wouldn't have taken the gun and
well, we need, obviously, criminal justice reform. And instead of that, Trump is promising, like a more militarized police presence in certain places, as if that is going to help the gun running that goes from Indiana, Mike Pence's Indiana, into Chicago, where they have
he's a peach.
Oh, he's a real peach. And he's, Pence is like, he wants... Oh, God. Mike Pence wants conversion therapy for gays. It's not just that he's, doesn't approve of a homosexual lifestyle, which is his choice. He can approve or disapprove. That's fine. Mike Pence wants to legislate conversion therapy, which is like the leading cause of suicide among young gays.
I've had friends that have said, "Oh, I didn't know that about Mike Pence, but I'm still voting for Trump."
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, Trump, you can't believe a word Trump says. I mean, Trump has been, on every side of every issue, every single day of his life. It's just whatever serves Donald Trump. Now, when Donald Trump talks about the economy, Donald Trump says he's going to borrow the money. And a lot of people don't know that either. But he was talking to CNBC. They were asking him what the correct amount of debt to GDP was. And Donald Trump didn't know what the answer was because, everybody that's looked at Donald Trump's bumbling business has said Donald Trump is nothing but a baffled businessman who spreads his losses out amongst the taxpayers. This is what he does. And so when CNBC was asking him, well, how are you going to pay for anything? Like he wants to increase, the VA, he wants to make it. First of all, if we had universal health care, if we really did, we wouldn't need the VA because every veteran like myself would be able to go to any doctor anytime, anywhere if we just had single payer. Or if we allowed our veterans to buy into Medicare, okay? They wouldn't have to go to the VA hospital. We wouldn't have to legislate anything special, right? You could keep the VA hospitals, but you could also say to a vet, if you don't live, my dad died at a VA hospital. It's very important to me, these things. I'm a veteran. So, but if we had universal health care, you wouldn't have any of these problems. But, Doofus likes to talk down America and pretend he's for the vets. He likes to pretend that he can lower taxes and create investment in keeping our jobs here, paying companies to stay or whatever the hell he's talking about, right? He's going to lower corporate tax rates. And he's going to increase the amount of investment in the military. He's going to increase the amount of money he's going to spend on the VA. He's going to increase the amount we're spending on infrastructure. And lower taxes at the same time, which is the Bush doctrine of economics. It's literally trickle down on steroids. It truly is the worst plan ever to come down the pike. We've seen it a million times, and every time we do it, interest rates go up to 18%. Okay? and people go broke. They can't afford their mortgage payments anymore. You see businesses, leave, close shop. I mean, we lost all manufacturing in the 80s during the Reagan years. That's when everybody fled. But he says he's going to borrow the money.
How do we pay for that? And is it going to be public money? Is it private money? And as Wilford just asked, what level of debt to GDP would you actually feel comfortable?
Normally you would say you want to reduce your debt, and I like to reduce debt too, as much as anybody. The problem is you have a military problem, you have an infrastructure problem, a tremendous infrastructure problem, and you have other problems. And also, the asset is your rates are so low. What's going to happen when the rates eventually will go up and you can't borrow? You absolutely can't borrow because it's too expensive. It would destroy, our balance sheet, totally destroy the balance sheet. So you'd be paying so little interest right now. This is the time to borrow.
Believe me. And you know what he'll do? He'll borrow against the good name of the United States and take us into bankruptcy.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
I'm Tom from the CoffeeCast podcast on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. You can catch the CoffeeCast podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or on demand now on the Progressive Voices app and progressivevoices.com. For Wednesday, October 19th, once again from Daniel Dale in the Toronto Star, here are 22 false statements Donald Trump said in the last 36 hours. I'll do my best to fit them all in. 1. Falsely said of African Americans, they like me better than they like her. Clinton was up to 86% to 9% with black voters in a typical recent poll. 2. Falsely said of voter fraud. Philadelphia is one that it's mentioned. I think Romney got no votes and McCain got no votes. No votes. Both Mitt Romney and John McCain got votes in Philadelphia. Romney got 0 votes in just 3% of the city's districts, a fact that the Republican chief in the city says is not suspicious, giving the overwhelming Democratic advantage in black neighborhoods there, and given that Barack Obama was running. 3. Falsely said Hillary even got the questions and answers in advance of a major debate. Hacked emails suggest Clinton's campaign was sent one question in advance for a Democratic town hall on CNN. Not a major debate, not questions, plural, and not answers. 4. Falsely said, if you look at the polls and the polling places in various cities, they're also rigged in the cities. Let's not kid ourselves. There is no evidence of election rigging in American cities. 5. Falsely said, there is tremendous voter fraud. There is not. One expert found 31 cases between 2000 and 2014. 6. Falsely said, this is a rigged election, folks. It is not. 7. Falsely said, by open borders, she means totally unlimited immigration. Clinton supports limits on immigration. 8. Falsely said, Hillary's plan includes open borders with the Middle East. It doesn't. 9. Falsely said, your taxes will go way down under a Trump administration. This claim would only be true if addressed to very rich people. Independent experts say the overwhelming majority of Trump's cuts will go to the rich. Half are for the top 1%, according to the Tax Policy Center, and some middle-class families will pay even more than they do now. Most families below the top 20% of earners are expected to reap income gains of less than 1%. 10. Falsely said, crooked Hillary wants to raise your taxes big league. This would only be true if addressed to very rich people. The Tax Policy Center says most residents below the top 1% will receive minor tax cuts under Clinton's plan, while the top 1% will be hit with an average increase of $118,000. 11. Falsely said of the new START nuclear arms reduction deal with Russia. They didn't even ask us for anything. They asked us not to reduce anything. Jeffrey Lewis, a scholar at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey, says it is wrong to say Russia didn't ask for reductions. We wanted to reduce the number of warheads, and they wanted to reduce the number of delivery vehicles. The final thing was a compromise. And we've run out of time. So many lies, So little time. And that's just today, Wednesday, October 19th. It's 19 days before Election Day. Be sure you are registered to vote. Check to be sure where you can get your early voting on. I'm Tom. You can catch more on the CoffeeCast podcast. Heard on demand on the Progressive Voices app or Progressive Voices on TuneIn, Stitcher, and iTunes.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
People say, and I hear them, I know, they say, I'm boring compared to Donald. But I'm not boring at all. In fact, I'm the life of every party I attend, and I've been to 3.
That's a great line.
And when the parties get out of hand, as occasionally they do, it's important to have a responsible chaperone who can get everyone home safely. And that is why I picked Tim Kaine to be my vice president. Now, you notice there is no teleprompter here tonight, which is probably smart because maybe you saw Donald dismantle his prompter the other day. And I get that. They're hard to keep up with, and I'm sure it's even harder when you're translating from the original Russian.
That was great.
But every year, this dinner brings together a collection of sensible, committed, mainstream Republicans, or as we now like to call them, Hillary supporters.
Oh, yes. Nice job. I thought she was the right amount of sweet, the right amount of funny, the right amount of self-deprecating. I took a break from my busy nap schedule. I mean, that is what the Al Smith dinner. But really, the person who stole the show wasn't a person at all. It was Maria Bartiromo's boobs. Wow. Still want to know, Maria, want to know whose bra is that? Want that bra. Need that bra. And don't tell me, I bet you I know what store she bought it on. Remember that bra store on Madison Avenue? Yeah, I bet she bought it there. And I bet that bra is $200. Oh, my God. Remember that place? Huh. The Chantel bras, remember them? They were like $150 for a bra. I'm like, Amazon, $15.
I like sitting around. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes being in that store. All right, well, Shannon called back. Did she? I'm sorry that we hung up on her. Hello, Shannon.
It's totally fine. I love your voice.
We thought we were being hacked.
Maybe we are.
No, we're not that big. I want to be Amazon big. That's how big we have to grow this.
Then you can have the bra.
Yeah. Then I could have the bra. Hello. Oh, thank you for solving my problem. All right. So your question was, what happens if Donald Trump steps down and Mike Pence becomes the nominee? Or how would he become the nominee?
Any and all. I just wanted to know your thoughts, if he could do it at all. It's something we're worried about. We've been talking about.
Yes, it could happen. It's not likely because Donald Trump is an egomaniac narcissist and he will never admit defeat. I mean, it doesn't.
True.
Right. But let's say Donald Trump suddenly became incapacitated. Let's do it that way. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So there is Rule 9. I'm sure you remember Rule 9 that the Republican National Committee has in their rule book. Now, if this had happened earlier, what they would have done is they would have reconvened all the delegates, every single one of them. 2,472 of those delegates would have been reconvened at another National Party convention, and they would all recast their votes for whoever they wanted. Okay, it could have been Kasich, but because it's too late to do that, there are 168 members of the Republican National Committee. Those 168 would vote for a replacement if Donald stepped down or if Donald just wasn't able to run. That's what would happen.
What constitutes him not being able to run?
Okay, so the actual sentence in the rule book says reasons of death, declination, meaning he declined, or otherwise. And there's this fungible word, otherwise. No one knows what otherwise is because it's not defined. And when you have and when you have a legal contract, typically the first part of that contract is definitions, and it defines the terms. Well, the Republicans didn't bother to define their terms, so we don't. So we don't know what otherwise means.
Okay. So there's room there.
There's
is
room.
that being talked about?
Yeah, there's room, but you know what? I just don't see it happening. I don't think it's a possibility. I think it's a kind of a fever dream that some Republicans might be having, but it's not. It's not anything I foresee. And if it happened, I'll be perfectly happy to say, God, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend. Mike in Milwaukee. Oh, Mike.
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
Hi, Mike.
Long time no talk. I talked to you. It's been over a month or so, but like I said, I always have to say I'm happy to hear you on the radio. It makes my afternoons here at work go by nice and easy to sit and listen to you and work. And you know, I work at a college, so I'm actually meeting with students now and doing things with registration. But it's always nice to have you.
Send me an intern. I need an intern. Thank you.
Okay. But hey, you know, I heard you citing that poll, and I was just laughing. You go, I'm really worried about the Reuters Ipsos poll. And I was thinking to myself, oh, come on, Randy. Now, how many of these people thought Barack Obama was a Muslim? How many of these people rejected Obama as presidency? Yeah. How many of these people think President Obama is a criminal because of his executive orders? So they're probably pooling these same people. But what Trump did was he jumped out in front of the Republican crazy train, and he started driving the train. He kind of reminds me of that scene. Every time I see all these people at his rallies, it reminds me of that scene in Animal House. Remember when that guy jumped out in front of the parade, and then he led all those people down the alley, and there's that wall in the alley, and they all were running into the wall? Well, that's what's going to happen to these folks come Election Day, because Trump's just feeding them all this garbage. And
I just hope to God that they are as lazy as I think they are. I just hope to God they don't have the energy, the stamina, the will, the desire, because when I look at like the distribution of guns in this country, you know, there's like 300 million guns in this country, and they're owned by about 6% of the population. Do you know? I mean, because some people have one for protection at home. Do you know? But the people that are stockpiling, that's 6% of our population, and you know, they scare me. These dudes.
Yeah, but I think here's what I think. And in my core, in my gut, I think that America has moved so far. I mean, we got a ways to go, but we've moved so far ahead that I think the good people are just going to go, you know what? There's no way this lunatic's going to be our president. And I think it's going to, not only do I think he's not going to win, but I think it's going to be a backlash against the Republican Party for not standing up to him, because President Obama's been beating his drum, and I agree with him. He goes, you guys are the ones who created this man. When he was saying all these evil things about people, you said nothing. When he was saying these evil things about me, you said nothing. You wanted the vote of your base, so you went along with this. And now the base, who are the ones who do all the voting in the primaries, have given you Donald Trump. And now he said all these horrible things about women. All of a sudden now you guys are upset. It's almost like they had a dead ear to all this stuff that he was saying because they wanted their vote. It's just like when the Tea Party thing all started. You know, they you know, with Dick Armey and them, they hijacked that movement and got them people to vote for them so that they can get into power. Now you're in bed with these dogs and you got fleas. Now you got to figure out how we're going to get rid of these fleas. And the best way to help them get rid of the fleas is for the sane Americans to vote them all out of power and then to have them start all over again. That's what I think needs to happen.
That's a beauty. Yeah, I mean, I do too. I think that's a great way to go, is to vote for every new person on the ballot, you know, every single new Congress member, senator, you know, and just start all over again. But, you know, obviously, you know, there was a big fight this morning on Morning Joe. Bill Kristol did you see it? Oh my God, he was practically crying, trying to deny that Donald Trump was the Republicans' real choice for the presidency, trying to deny that. And it was like, no, you own him, you wanted him. And you know, when you try and figure out who's to blame for Donald Trump, it's Bill Kristol who picked Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin, right?
Sarah Palin
Exactly.
was the gateway drug to Donald Trump, and that is a fact. So
right on. You hit the nail right on the head there, Randy. They created all this mess. So let's just sit back. Let's make sure we get out to the polls and vote, all of us. This thing ain't in the bag. It ain't over till it's over. So let's get to the polls. But then let's sit back and watch these guys when they do their rebuilding.
I hear you. I love you. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Take it easy.
Have a good weekend. All right. I can't make it a Friday without Brother David. Brother David, I love you.
From lipstick on a pig
to Marmot on the Head, the great surreality TV competition ended on Wednesday with an unprecedented display in which Project Runway trampled Hell's Kitchen and Shark Tank devoured The Biggest Loser. An election was lost on one side with the simple phrase, I'm going to keep you in suspense. I will keep you in suspense.
I'll keep you in suspense. See you Monday.